Yo, what's good everyone? This is AEO Boxing with Madiba, and we're here to talk about the latest update with Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. So news just broke yesterday that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford have reportedly agreed to a deal to fight for the undisputed welterweight championship on July 29th in Las Vegas. My friend Dante, and no, I'm not talking about Dante's Boxing Nation, but he was the first one to inform me about this news. And at first, I wasn't going to talk about it. I only believe this fight will happen once they're in the ring, because news broke earlier this year that the fight was scheduled for June 17th and it was going to be announced on the Tank vs. Ryan card, along with the Spectrum TV putting it on their pay-per-view schedule. However, nothing happened and the fans were teased and disappointed yet again. But once I started seeing more details and hints about the fight this time, I started to believe that this fight was actually happening. And I know I get my hopes up, but this time might be different. Like when I saw that the deal includes a two-way rematch clause that the loser will be able to activate within 30 days, and that both fighters are guaranteed a minimum of a $10 million purse. This is the first time that we've gotten precise news regarding negotiation details. And what really sealed the deal was Terence Crawford posting a collage picture on his Instagram, which was directed at Errol Spence. It was Crawford as Aquaman, with him holding a trident with a shark on it. And then news broke that Spence and Crawford both released new t-shirts on their official merch website. Both of their shirts were directed at one another. And then Giovanni Cabrera released a video saying this.
So happy to announce July 29th, T-Mobile Arena. The mega fight is happening. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I'm going to be the co-main event versus Pitbull Cruz. Man, it's going to be a great day for boxing. Two legendary Mexican warriors putting it all on the line. Let's fucking go. We're fighting for the #1 spot in the world, man. This is for everything. This is for everything.
So that tells me that the fight is official and it's finally happening. And it's 2 months away. This is a great year for boxing, and probably the best year in boxing that we've seen in the last decade. The main reason why I think this fight was made is because of all the big fights that have been happening this year. You had David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, you had Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, you had Haney versus Lomachenko, Fulton versus Inoue should have happened by now, but that got postponed. But then you have Teofimo and Josh Taylor coming up in the next month. Shit, you even had Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. And I can list a bunch of other fights that have been on a smaller scale, but still great and interesting fights. Boxing has been hot this entire year, and its popularity among the general public is growing. There's a resurgence in boxing, and with the competitive spirit that Crawford and Spence have, I know for a fact that they wanted to make this fight to cement themselves as the biggest and best in the sport. The wait has been long, but this is the best time for them to make this fight, so no more bullshitting. I just hope that the undercard for this fight is good, because Tank vs. Ryan had an underwhelming undercard, Haney vs. Lomachenko had a pretty good undercard, but Spence vs. Crawford can make a great undercard. You already have Pitbull Cruz versus Giovanni Cabrera as the co-main. I feel like they could have picked a better opponent for Cruz, but it's whatever. It's just good to see him back in the ring. They should definitely put Frank Martin on the undercard. Put him against Edwin De Los Santos. That would be a good ass fight for Frank, and just a good fight in general. But they should put Jerome Boots Ennis on this undercard. Boots has been missing pretty much since January 7th, when he fought on the Tank versus Hector Garcia undercard, but this would be the perfect opportunity for Jerome Boots Ennis. He's a young welterweight, and many see him as the next big thing in the welterweight division, so it makes perfect sense to put him on the biggest welterweight fight since Floyd versus Manny. And his opponent should be Roman de Villeneuve. He just beat Rashidi Ellis in an upset, and he's like the #1 mandatory for the IBF. Boots is the IBF interim champion, so it makes perfect sense, and that would be a good ass fight to have on an undercard. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with AEO Boxing with Madiba. Hit like, subscribe, and more content's coming your way.